Hello and welcome. My name is David Ross, and today I'm going to be taking you through this presentation for Forestry and Arboriculture T-level streams. Now, the T-levels themselves for both the Forestry and Arboriculture, they are the equivalent of 3 A-levels, and you can also earn UCAS tariff points to move on to university. So always bear that in mind. Now, for the contents of this presentation, I'm going to take you through a few introductions for the staff themselves, such as myself, and also the T-level content, a bit of a delivery overview, industry placement, PPE for both the industry placement and practical sessions, potential enrichment, and also a little bit about the interviews. Now, introductions to start off with, we have Mark O'Kelly, who is a part-time lecturer. We have myself, David Ross, who is a full-time lecturer, Alec Hussey as well, who is a full-time lecturer, and Tom Robinson, who is our arboricultural technician. Now, to start off with, we have Mark O'Kelly. Now, he is a part-time practical lecturer and has been with the college since 2018, where he also was a full-time lecturer, but he also assesses lateral qualifications alongside myself for the course. Now, he's got 30 plus years experience as a commercial and domestic arborist on multiple contracts and regions. And now he manages a small woodland down in Bedfordshire, which is called Melchbourne Park Estate. Then we've got myself, David Ross. I'm a full-time lecturer. I was a utility arborist for 13 years on multiple contracts such as highways and electrical, before starting with the college teaching in arboriculture and forestry back in 2020 until present day. I also teach and assess lateral qualifications for the course, and previously to all of this I was in His Majesty's Armed Forces, both regular and reservist, for a total of 13 years. Now, moving on, we have Alec Hussey, and he is our new full-time lecturer, and he has been in the industry for 17 years, both domestic, commercial, utility and highways experience, to name just a few. He studied at Moulton for both his level 3 and level 4 qualifications, and he has also run his own company within the Northamptonshire area. Now, finally, we have Tom Robinson, who makes up the last part of our crew, and he is our arboricultural technician. 10 years as a domestic and commercial arborist, and also a company owner. He's taught countryside management for the previous 2 years and runs his own small holding. So moving on from those introductions of the tutors that are going to be teaching you and helping you out throughout the 2 years on the course, we have our estate as a whole. 550 hectares as an estate, and this covers a mixture of arable, grazing and various environmental projects across the 4 sites making up the college. Now, we also have that we utilise an arboretum containing specimen trees, so we can use it for tree ident as well as maintenance. We have 2 small mixed woodlands which we utilise extensively. We have a mainly willow copper stand, roughly around about 100 metres by about 10, and again we utilise that for various different activities. And then we have a shelter belt woodland that runs parallel to gate 4, which is what we class as the Pittsford site, that leads up to Lodge Farm, which is where most of the land-based courses are being held. So if you look at the map just up there, you'll see where it is. So you've got where it says the Moulton Equestrian Centre, that is gate 4 as we call it, and then Lodge Farm is further up by what we call the running track. Now, entry requirements onto the course itself. Now, this is compulsory, which is required for 5 GCSEs at grade 4 or above, and these are to include maths, English and a science, and then you can make up the remainder with whatever you require. Now, the course itself is a 2-year duration, and you can also progress onto this course should you not get your 5 GCSEs, and you can go on to the level 2 technical certificate in forestry and arboriculture by obtaining a merit overall and redoing your maths and English GCSEs, either one, okay, or either or, at grade 4 and above. But you must have a merit overall with those 2, maths and English. Now, moving on to the actual content of the T level. So we're going to be covering year 1, and then we're going to be covering year 2. So as you look at this particular slide here, you'll notice it goes from September all the way through to June, and that is from that's the whole academic year. So starting off with the Common Core. So this covers multiple areas such as your health and safety within the work environment and the land-based industries. You've also got sustainability, working in agriculture, environment and land care, and animal care, ethics, business, equality, communications, relationship management. Now that relationship management, that's all about relationships between, say, like employers and their potential clients. Then you've got principles of finances and also information and data. So all of those are covered within that first academic year. Now, alongside that, you also get your common pathway. Now, this is more specialised towards your forestry and arboriculture, whereas your common core is the land-based industries as a whole, which includes your agriculture and your animal care as well. Now, this again reiterates your health and safety. It also recaps on your sustainability, especially for the industry as a whole, especially for forestry and arboriculture. It moves into your biosecurity and how we're trying to maintain that, especially for the movement of any particular diseases from one woodland to the next. Supply chain, so again, obviously we've got to make sure that our industry is able to run and be efficient and effective. Plant growth and development, so this links into your plant and soil science, and again understanding what happens when we carry out our activities. Now also we have our occupational specialism. Now this links into our practical days as well as our common pathways, and we do try to link it with your common core too. Now this is for both forestry and the arboricultural streams as well, and this covers common performance outcomes. Now this is tree and woodland management and maintenance as well. So again, carrying out surveys, understanding what pruning carries out, and also understanding how when we grow trees and create woodlands and stuff like that, especially within the urban environment as well, then we need to have that basic underpinning knowledge of how it all operates and how we affect it, as well as making sure that we can put that across to any potential clients. Now we also carry out operation and the maintenance of forestry and arboricultural machinery. So again, this links into different types of machinery such as your chippers, your strimmers, and your other stuff that may come on hand, such as potential tractors or quad bikes for all-terrain vehicles. Now we also carry out undertaking felling operations, which again is one of our main and core areas for the first year. So again, that covers understanding how the trees are, how we carry out the felling operations themselves, and obviously tidy up and making sure that we are being an effective team as a whole. Now alongside this, you do get assessments themselves. Now from April to May, you will carry out 2 2-hour exams. Now these are normally around about June and May time. So again, they are written exams, and we will prepare you for these by utilizing different assessments such as your multiple choice questions, as well as project-based work as well for the classroom areas. So that will give you a good understanding of how the questions work in your exams. Now for the employer set project, now this is a 17-hour session, which is split up over a period of 2 weeks. Now this normally takes place around about April time, and can potentially link into May as well. Now this is normally set by city and guilds themselves, and we will then put it within the timetable so you can carry out these particular objectives to complete that particular assessment, and then everything is uploaded and sent off to city and guilds so they can mark it and then come back. And these normally come back for your results times at the same time as your GCSEs and your A-level times. Now for year 2, you concentrate specifically now on your occupational specialism. So for arboriculture, we have tree and woodland management and maintenance, but it also covers and links more into the urban management of trees. So this is how we manage tree populations to meet certain objectives, maintain trees to meet prescribed objectives, and also it links into your climbing and other areas such as that you will carry out in commercial elements for that area. Now for your forestry, that goes a little bit more in depth into your tree and woodland management and maintenance itself. So this is how to manage the woodlands, how to establish them, meet the objectives the same as you would do within the arboriculture sector, and also maintain the woodlands to meet those prescribed objectives too. And again, this links into undertaking felling operations and how they link in specifically to that management and practice as well. Now within this second year as well, as alongside other multiple choice questions and other assessments just to help you get developed for carrying out these particular tasks, we have a portfolio assignment of work. Now this covers 35 hours of evidence gathering and observations, which myself as a tutor and our other tutors will help generate this paperwork. Now this for this year is covered from January through to May, where it then will be eventually sent off so it can be marked by City and Guilds themselves before again it will come back around the time for the A-level results itself. Now a working week in college, so you're in for 4 days, and these may vary, these particular 4 days, for the cohorts. Now I haven't put on a sort of like a potential sort of like timetable, because again, depending on the academic year will depend on how it will go. So one of the days is going to be your industry placement, and for that industry placement you will require a minimum of 315 hours across the 2 years, and that is mandatory. Now we also do holistic learning, so this is scenario based within the actual lessons themselves, mini projects, activity based learning, theory within practical, as well as traditional learning such as Q&A, and also just generally trying to generate discussions. Now formative assessments, this comes in your mini employer set projects. Again, you have mini exams. Okay, so this is your mocks. So again, this is just to prepare you to see where we can go and to help build you up so you're confident when you get to your main exams themselves. Now we then have project challenges. So again, this is sort of a little bit more fun and trying to generate a little bit more of critical thinking. We have multiple choice question papers, workbooks or worksheets. Now for your exams themselves, your English, numeracy and digital skills do get added points. Now you do not get marked down if you are not so good at those particular areas. Okay. Now for your industry placement, now I've mentioned that in the first bit, which is part of your working week. So one of your days, which makes up the 4 days, which is normally your day off, is at your industry placement. Now this is a minimum of 315 hours across the 2-year duration. Now you can gain your hours during your summer break in between the 2 years, whereas previously it was not allowed. Now up to 2 employers per student. Now this is set by City and Guilds themselves, because multiple students in the past were chopping and changing and it was hard to keep up. So any further changes aside from those 2 employers must have a written permission from City and Guilds to say yes you can. Now no industry placement may be taken with your families or a family member. So again, it must be with an external company, so that saves any particular biasness as well. Now all potential placements must have the required health and safety information, such as your employer and public liability insurance, and also company risk assessments to make sure that they are covering all the bases to make sure that you are safe when you are being employed or are working for them. Now the work placement officer we have will require potential company details once they have agreed to take you on as a work placement student. Okay, so moving on. For both the practicals and for your work placements, you are going to need basic PPE. Now for arboriculture and forestry, it is fairly pricey, but I'm going to take you through the basics of what is required, and then we can talk a little bit more about it. So first of all, as you can see from the picture, there is normally a helmet required. So this is either a forestry helmet or it is going to be a arboricultural helmet. Now the difference between the two is one has a chin strap and one doesn't. Now both are required to have ear defense and a mesh visor for facial protection. Okay, so your ear defense obviously for ear defense, and then obviously your visor for your face. Now moving down, you've got your chainsaw trousers. These and we normally try to recommend you have the Type C. Now that is all-round protection, and then your Class 1 or 2 chainsaw trousers, which is for your chain speed. So Class 1 is your 20 meters per second, your Class 2 is 24 meters per second. Now the same again with your chainsaw boots. Now Class 1 again deals with 20 meters per second, and Class 2 24 meters per second, and that is talking about the chain speed for the chainsaws. Now where you've got the high vis jacket, that is not required. It's just making sure that the student has the required tops, such as layering, such as your t-shirts, your jumpers, and they are not loose fitting or the zips aren't undone. But we will cover that when we're on our practicals and part of the health and safety process to make sure that you are a competent operator. Now you also require chainsaw gloves. Now these again will be part of the leaflet that I'll discuss in a minute, and also they are compulsory for when handling and operating the chainsaw. Now where you see that I've mentioned the general purpose gloves, these could be small, very thin gloves with the sort of like a rubber coating for the palms and the fingers. That allows the dexterity for when we're carrying out maintenance on the chainsaws. And also if you're not using the chainsaws and you just want something a bit lighter, then you can still use that to make sure that your hands are covered for when dragging sort of like branches and picking up logs and stuff like that. Now when we do send out our information packs, we normally send out a supplier leaflet. Now this is through Buxton's, which is our supplier that we normally set up with for carrying out our PPE, and this is normally coinciding with the bursary should you qualify for it. Now with that, they will have both a forestry side and an arboricultural side. So once you get these, then please have a look and obviously then decide which one you require. Now, potential enrichment for the course, we have guest speakers and companies from multiple areas, whether it be utility, commercial, or even just small three-man bands that may come in and want to talk about being self-employed, and also guest speakers from companies that actually create the equipment itself. We also try and get out to Western Burt Arboretum, which is the National Collection, and that is down in Gloucestershire near the New Forest. And again, fantastic opportunity down there. And every now and then they will give us a guest speaker for dendrologists and other areas that they cover within that particular environment. We also try and get to Stowe Gardens. That's only down in Toaster area, and we tend to do that on one of our practical days, and again that allows us to look at the architecture and also tree identification and how everything is managed. We also have done trips to Kew Gardens. We've done that alongside our floristry and horticultural departments, and again that was a very good experience, and we try to get them there as well in the future. Now the big one is the APF show. Now this year we missed it, but following years we're going to try and get onto it, and this is where all the people within the industry, whether it be forestry, arboriculture, horticulture, everyone, they get together and they show different techniques. They do competitions, they do show big large equipment, everything that is up and coming in the industry, and also allows you to do a little bit of shopping as well, and it's a fantastic all day out. Now, again, we also utilise local woodlands and estates for our practical sessions, but we also utilise local estates and woodlands for particular underpinning knowledge for maintenance of surveys, woodland management, and anything we can throw at the students, we will try to utilise. Now, moving on, once we've gone through all of that, and you're happy and you want to come on to the actual course, we will then go and carry out interviews. Now these will take place throughout the evenings throughout 2026 academic year, and what it is, it covers multiple questions that I want or another tutor will get to know you, find out what you want, why you're coming onto the course, and also making sure that that is the right course for you. And it also makes sure that we've got the right qualifications so you can actually attend as well. Now the interviews will be carried out virtually, so again that makes it a little bit more intimate for us, so we can actually see face to face, and that is where you can ask me questions too as well. Okay. Now, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email myself at david.ross@moulton.ac.uk or alec.hussey@moulton.ac.uk for any further questions, and we will try and get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you soon.